Disclaimer: the contents within this video are supplemental to the safety lessons taught in class by the tech ed teacher and is not the definitive last word on the subject at hand. No person or student should attempt to follow any of the safety guidelines herein or use equipment until they receive safety training from the tech ed teacher within the shop itself and only after completing their safety demonstration and written test. So the first thing we'll look at is how to safely hold our material in the saw. So we have a quick jaw here, slides back and forth, and the hand wheel at the end that tightens everything up. Alright, so to start, let's look at different material. So flat stock can be held flat or on edge. Angle stock, point up. And round stock needs a V-block. One of these, the V-blocks. Okay? The reason for the V-block is if the tooth comes down on the saw and you don't use a V-block, it's going to hook into the round stock and it's going to start rotating it. Alright, so the V-block holds it securely. When you do tighten it down, make sure the block is sitting flat, not angled. Alright, you want the block sitting flat and then tighten up your material. The next safety consideration is supporting your work. The material can stick out the front here or it can stick out the back and through the doorway back here. So what we want to do is grab this roller stand. If it's a long piece of material, we have this roller stand that we can place down in front of our saw, and we can use it to support our work. Generally, you're going to have it out back here, supporting along the stock. Makes it safe. When you're tightening material down in the vise, if it starts to get small, as you tighten it down, so for example, we have this piece of aluminum here. If I try to tighten this down the jaws here, the jaw is going to start to turn, and you'll see it turning as I tighten that down. So in order to stop the jaws from turning, all we need to do is adjust this little knob here, bring the screw thread right up to the other jaw, and once you do that, when you tighten this down, the jaws won't rotate anymore, and that solves that problem. So when we set the saw up to cut, first of all, we're going to clamp our work in the vise, and we're just going to clamp it loosely. We're going to lift our feed lever up and bring down the saw gently until it's just above our material. There's about good. We'll use a ruler and we'll measure our tape measure. We'll measure off the blade, position our work we want it to be, and then we'll tighten it down. The last thing we want to do is we want to adjust this guard, making sure that we have this guard as close to our material as possible without hitting the vise jaw. And there is a maximum line on it in felt pen, and once you get to that line, that's as far as it'll go, and there we go. Last thing we're going to do before we cut is just make sure that we're not touching the blade to the material. So lift it up a little bit. I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to lift the lever here on the side up just enough so the saw starts moving, and then let it do its thing. I'm going to keep my hands away from the blade, up here on the top of the frame, and on the stop button, so I can hit stop if anything happens. just like that, the cut is done. So here's the feed lever here. If it's in the up position, you can move the saw by hand rather quickly. If you put the lever in the all the way down position, nothing will change, nothing will move. And then as you lift it up, it'll slowly speed up. The more faster. As you lift the lever up, the faster it will go.